Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is February the 6th, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Today was a good work day. Overall, I will say I was busier than I liked. Um, Also, I had this thing where I don't know if it was just a case of like being too much on my phone or whatever, but I just like maybe even sometimes just like you receive some information that's not necessarily bad, but it just maybe like throws you off or distracts you. I don't know, but I just had like this buzzing feeling in my head where I just was like I felt like my head was in too many places at once, and I really should have just been focusing on work, but work is boring and like blah blah blah. So I don't know. My brain was all over the place, but overall it was a good day, and happy about that. Let's see here. Food corner was good, very easy, no hassle. I had Mexican beef and rice bowl. So yay, yummy, yummy, yummy. Didn't do anything crazy or weird though. Kept it pretty simple. So yeah, I mean, you're more or less caught up with all my Joneses. Like I said, overall, we're good. We're in a good place. At least I think so. But yeah, let me. Oh, also, I feel like I've gotten past the minute or so, so I've dodged the censors. The biggest news, if I really am being honest with you, the biggest news of the day is Drake's penis. I hate to say it, I really do. But it is probably the most trending thing I've seen all day. This is as much as I'm going to cover it here in the preamble, but it's out there if you would like to find it. You can get the views from the 6 inches plus. I don't know, man. It's a lot, but he's just holding that thing. He's Bob the Builder. But anyway, enough about the side shit. Let me go ahead and do my startup, and then we'll get into some real news. Oh yeah. Okay. Um, our first story is going to come from the Independent. Ethan Crumbley's mother, Jennifer, convicted of manslaughter in historic Michigan school shooting trial. A Michigan jury has found Jennifer Crumbley guilty of manslaughter in the Oxford High School shooting after she bought her teenage son a firearm and ignored multiple warning signs about his disturbing behavior in the lead up to the deadly attack. Jurors reached the verdict on Tuesday morning after deliberating for more than 10 hours. Crumbley, 45 years old, had pleaded not guilty to 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter in the case, one for each of the 4 classmates: Madison Baldwin, 17, Tate Marie, 16, Justin Schilling, 17, and Hannah St. Juliana, 14, murdered by her son. Ethan Crumbley was sentenced in December to life in prison without the possibility of parole after he shot and killed 4 of his classmates in the November 30th, 2021 mass shooting. Now, for reasons, both the Crumleys are on trial, but Jennifer's was up front. Excuse me, I can't stop coughing. But Jennifer's was up front first. The father, whose name is escaping me here, his trial is going to be in March. I think that they more or less did it just because I think it would just kind of lead to a better defense. They were kind of starting to like turn a little bit on each other, maybe. Uh, so that's just kind of how this wound up kind of working out in terms of the case and the trial. Um, and I want to preface, because I've said this before, that I don't like the idea of this trial, just because I feel like it's a wrong turn for us as a society to say, "Oh, well, we can't seem to fix any of these problems, right? So let's just do more criminal prosecution of people." That'll stop it. That'll be the deterrent to stop these shootings, which is, it's not. Like, you keep blaming mental health. You keep, either blaming the school, blaming it on the no locked doors or whatever. You find all these reasons and excuses when really it always comes back to saying, hey, we have these access to these firearms and someone's going to fucking use it for good means or for bad. And we're going to keep covering the bad situations because of how we have our law set up in this country. That being said, I feel like we're taking the laws and saying, oh, let's just use them to prosecute more people. That'll stop it. Like, let's just get the parents. Let's just throw them in jail and lock them up and that'll stop it, right? I don't think this is going to be the way. But that being said, I kind of am just looking at it from the lens of we're on a train. There's nothing you can do to stop said train. So taking the view, what is the view? And where we're at is, like, they're going to try these people. And in this situation, it looks like she was found guilty. And I would say in the lens of the law, using it here, it adds up. It makes sense. I felt like for the defense, they tried to say that, like, oh, she couldn't have seen this coming. Like, this was completely out of her means. She's a caring, loving mother. She just didn't see the signs. She just didn't know what to do. And then it all happened and it was all so overwhelming. But I think when you actually look at the brass tacks of this, like, you can prove as a prosecution that, like, the mother and the father were willing participants in a way, at least in the sense of you allowed and cultivated this, like, gun, I don't want to say gun obsession, but, like, you had the kid getting, like, a 9mm for, like, his birthday or Christmas, I can't remember. You taking him out to the shooting range. There's nothing wrong with these things, but when you have situations where he's looking up ammunition and stuff like that in school, and you're bringing it up, like, he's getting caught for this, and it's getting brought up, and it's like the mom's reaction is to text him like, hey honey, I'm not mad at you, but you can't get caught doing this kind of stuff, son. Like, that to me is saying, hey dude, you do know what's going on here. And instead of saying, hey, we need to, like, maybe talk about these things, like, let's get in front of it, let's make sure you're not taking the privileges that we're giving you having a gun and, like, taking it to dark places, doing dark things with it. Instead, you're kind of enabling this bad behavior, just saying, like, hey, you need to do better at not getting caught. Then what they focus on in this article a lot, which is there's a meeting literally the day of the shooting where they're like, hey, like, he's doing these, like, really dark, macabre drawings. Like, do you want to take him out of school, like, for the day? Like, you just want to take him out? And both parents opt to not do that. And that to me that's bad. It's not looking good for the situation there. And then I think they have, like, actual, like a statement, or that she's overheard saying, like, we should have taken him out, which is, like, I don't want to say that's damning, but I just think it's one of those things where it doesn't help your case of saying, like, hey, I was a dutiful mother, I cared the entire time, when it kind of shows that, no, maybe you didn't. Maybe there's a little bit holes in there. I will say there's something here that I learned. Let me see if I'm reading the right part. I gotta scroll down a little bit long. Bear with me here. In an attempt to cut into the defense's description of Crumbley being a hypervigilant mom, the prosecution tried to draw attention to how much time and money the mother dedicated to her horses and to her other distractions, including her affair with her former lover. My jaw dropped. I'm sorry, I was not prepared for this scandal in the middle of this trial. Full disclosure, I really didn't keep up with it. At this point, I've kind of gotten a little bit, I don't know what the word is, but I'm just like, oh, okay, this trial's happening. I don't want to, like, follow the play-by-play. Give me the highlights at the end, and I'll cover it that way. So I'm reading this shit, and I'm like, I cannot believe this is what unfolded during this trial. They fucking read her to filth. So they found her whole affair. They blew this whole thing up. Brian Melichet, Crumbley's longtime friend, testified that he and Crumbley had a 6-month extramarital affair starting in the spring of 2021. Around the same time, Ethan's mental health started to decline, the prosecution claimed. His grandmother passed away in 2021, and his mother told a friend that he was acting depressed. Like, these are things that do not hold up well in court. When you say you were a dutiful mother, you were hyper vigilant, like you just didn't see it, you just didn't know what to do. Like, no, you saw it and you just made bad decisions. Also, another thing and reason why I think they're being split is, once again, the defense kind of changed, where it's like the mom said, hey, I wasn't involved in the actual gun part. That was the father. He was supposed to be handling the gun, making sure it was locked up, all the gun safety stuff, and that's kind of on him, not me. Even though it seems that none of that was even taken into account. Come the day, I know I'm kind of coming off of the affair, I'm going to get back to it. But like, when the shit happened, when the shit hit the fan, when Ethan did the mass shooting, they like immediately went into like, kind of like, oh, we need to get the fuck out of here mode. Like, got a fucking motel situation, got burner phones, took out cash, because they were concerned. They were scared. There were people sending them death threats. There were media outside their house. Like, they knew it was up. Like, they knew that there was something afoot here. Let me get back to the affair. I'm kind of in the weeds. But yeah, beyond this affair, Crumbley's digital footprint also showed she was using the adultery website Adult Friend Finder. I am one of the most single people in the motherfucking world. I've never touched this app. So I feel like that is very down bad behavior. And I know I shouldn't judge. That's fucked up of me. I know. But like, this is a person who's married. Like, my mind is like, yo, maybe just deal with that shit. Like, I really do feel like we are just kind of ignoring a lot of problems. And once again, this is blowing up your spot when you were literally on the stand, or like your defense is saying, hey, I'm a dutiful mother. I'm in the zone. I care about this. This is the only thing I give a fuck about my kid. I don't know. It seems like you're a horse girl who is more concerned about Mr. Mellichet. But yeah, that was a crazy detail that I did not see coming. No pun intended there. But let's see. Prosecutors also pointed out that Mr. Crumbley was a DoorDash driver. I don't know why they felt the need to bring this up at the time. And so their son could have accompanied him that day. I don't know if maybe that's the best place and in your mental health to be doing like side jobs with your dad. But I mean, I guess I get the point there. They're trying to raise. But yeah, no, we already talked about them acting weird, doing the whole bug out thing, getting the money and all that shit. So yeah, I mean, I will definitely try to at least drop an update on her sentencing, like how much time she's going to get. Like I said, in terms of the father, we will be covering that probably in March a little bit if it, wraps up relatively quickly. I imagine if she got time and they took about 10 hours to deliberate, I kind of think this is kind of going to go around the same amount of time. So yeah, I'll keep you posted on that. So like I said, this is a bit of an odds and ends episode. I'm kind of going here, there, everywhere. So let's take it to Spain. From Reuters. Spanish farmers blockade roads, joining EU peers protest. So y'all know I love to talk about some protests. And it seems this year is taking the farming variety in a really big way. And you know what? I don't care. I do not care where the flowers bloom. I am just here to pick them. Spanish farmers block traffic on several major highways and burn tires. I also got to say this. I'm sorry. I'm an American. Why do y'all across the pond or whatever spell tires like that? Y'all spelling tires Tyres. That's crazy. As an American, Tires. That's how I spell tires. So it threw me for a little bit of a loop there. But back to the business. But yeah, they were burning tires on Tuesday, joining colleagues in other European countries, protesting against high costs, I cannot say bureaucracy. I can't say it right now. I don't know why. And competition from non-EU nations. With different shades in the whole of the EU, we have the same problems. Donacino Dujo, vice president of ASAJA, one of the largest farmers associations in Spain, told the national broadcaster TVE. Bureaucracy. I tried one more time. But ASAJA and other associations had called for protests from Thursday, but many farmers took to the roads with their tractors on Tuesday, snarling traffic throughout the country from Seville to Granada in the south up to Girona near the French border, traffic authorities say. Over the past few weeks, farmers in European countries, including Germany, France, and Belgium, have held protests that sometimes turn violent. Now, obviously, I'm not advocating for violence or anything like that. I do understand where, the hot blood comes from. Sometimes it even is, infiltration from other groups. We've talked about that before. But at the end of the day, I completely understand. I completely back the sentiment of saying, hey, we have to be making enough money to live. We are working to live. That is the only fucking point. So you put the ball in the government's court saying, hey, we are out here with our fucking tractors. Help us. Do something. Do your job. So far, though, Spain's agriculture ministry announced on Tuesday it would distribute an extra 269 million euros or $289 million in aid to nearly 140,000 farmers to help alleviate the impact of the long-running drought and the war in Ukraine. And then at least 14 highways in the regions of Catalonia, and Andalusia, Castell-La Mancha, and Valencia have been blockaded, official traffic data showed. So yeah, I love a good protest. I love some civil unrest for a good cause. And hell, I don't care whatever form. If you got to put me in some fucking overalls and a fucking little straw hat, I'm with you, brother. I'm with that yee. Let's go. So hell yeah. But yeah, let's from here, we're actually going to go to school. So let's talk about some school shit. School spirit, motherfucker. Are the dogs barking outside? They're kind of going crazy out there. Another day in Ohio. Anyway, from NPR. Dartmouth will again require SAT, ACT scores. Other colleges won't necessarily follow. Dartmouth College has announced it will once again require applicants to submit standardized test scores, beginning with the next application cycle for the class of 2029. This comes after the Ivy League College, located in New Hampshire, opted to make test scores optional in 2020, citing the COVID-19 pandemic. A new study conducted by the college found test scores have helped less advantaged students, including first-generation students and students from low-income families, gain access to schools. We find ourselves missing out on some great students, says Bruce Sacerdote, a Dartmouth economics professor and co-author of that study. He says students from disadvantaged backgrounds submitted their tests scores at far lower rates, but their scores were high enough that they might have helped students get in. We can see in the data, oh wow, that student, boy, they had a 1450 or a 1500. We didn't even know that. And they were not admitted to Dartmouth, he says. That is a really outstanding score, and it would have been a great piece of information to have. That study also found that test scores helped bring in students from high schools that didn't have the track record of sending students to Dartmouth. Now, I feel like this is one way to take in this information from the study, and I get it. Like, I can understand where these people are coming from, but I personally think, and I'm of the camp, that these tests are kind of more of a negative thing, that they have always kind of been and always will be a pay-to-win experience in a lot of ways. I feel like that's just like the gamer talk way of saying this, but essentially, like, if you are of a better privileged family background, what have you, it is easier for you to get a better score. And you could say, well, no, at the end of the day, it's just based off of your acumen, whatever. But, like, we're talking tests here. This is a test-taking fucking thing. Like, yeah, it is, like, an aptitude test of sorts, but, like, it is in a certain kind of setting. You can only do so much, I feel like, in these kind of, environments. That being said, I think in lieu of what we have post, the Supreme Court verdict of saying, hey, you can't do affirmative action anymore, I think this kind of jargon kind of rings true and works for people, where it's like, hey, we're giving you an opportunity here that that people are kind of sleeping on. But once again, if you, as a person who's taken the ACT, you go, oh, well, now I have to take it. Like, there's, and also there's the thing I want to add too. There's a reason that people weren't presenting these scores, even though they took the fucking test, is because they really didn't feel like it actually stacked up against other people in the long run. Now you're saying, hey, for the sake of this study, yeah, no, this is actually would have totally helped you. But like now that everyone's tests are being actually attributed, we're back to feeling and thinking that like, oh, my test score doesn't really add up to someone else's who's like kind of like a career student, and now, here's my measly scores up against theirs. Now maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe this is something that actually helps, and maybe in a world that we don't have affirmative action, you take whatever edges you can potentially take here, because it's such a fucking landmine to talk about like your race, to talk about anything that actually makes you unique, as opposed to like your actual background and how you came up. So yeah, I think this is a very, I don't know. I don't want to say interesting. Interesting is not the right word, because I don't like tests and I don't really like school. So this is not interesting, but I'm curious to see how this is going to pan out. My gut tells me this is gross. It's not good. But hopefully this is something that helps people get into colleges. But I want to stress this enough, and I say this as a person who only did a semester of college and then said, fuck this shit, I'm out. I have other things I got to worry about. At the end of the day, I think college is important if you're trying to do a certain kind of thing, get to a certain kind of like place, career track wise, whatever. At the end of the day, get the degree. Just fucking get it. It doesn't matter where you fucking get it from. You don't gotta go to fucking Harvard. You don't gotta fucking go to Dartmouth. Just get the fucking shit. Yes, at the end of the day, it does matter where you're from. It opens doors if you go to like a prestigious place. Because I think at the end of the day, really what these people are doing here is they want to bring back the whole, like, we want to just kind of set ourselves apart here again. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, these colleges just want bodies in the fucking chairs to fucking milk them for fucking money. That's it. That's all it is. To me, that's how I look at this shit. Like, these motherfuckers are not trying to get as many people into high academia. They really don't give a fuck. They just want to make money. Somehow, some way, that's always what this shit is about. So, a college is a college. Like, if you want to get milked so that you can get that fucking super cool degree, I feel it. I get it. I understand why. It will open those doors for you probably. But at the end of the day, if you just need to make your goddamn bones, just fucking go anywhere. Because the college is a goddamn college. So yeah, I mean, that's my fucking 3 cents on that shit. We'll see, time will tell if this is actually going to be better or worse, if more colleges are going to switch back to this model. I really hope they fucking don't, to be honest with you. But, I mean, it's neither here nor there for me. I don't see myself going back to school. Anyway, we're actually doubling down on Dartmouth, but let me take a break. Let me take 5. Let me take a little bit of a lunch. No. Then we'll get back. We'll be right back to it. I promise. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Our last story comes from ESPN. Excuse me. Labor Board regional official clears way for Dartmouth Hoops Union. A National Labor Relations Board, or NLRB, regional official, ruled on Monday that Dartmouth players are employees of the school, clearing the way for an election that would create the first labor union for NCAA athletes. So there we go. Let's fucking clap it up. I'm giving Dartmouth a little bit of shit for trying to bring back the SAT. Boring, snooze. But doing a fucking union, let's fucking go, dude. I love that shit. Y'all know I love a good union. Ooh, so early in the year too. Let's fucking go. So yeah. I think this is a good evolution from where we've been kind of going as of recently, saying like, hey, look, we know this is like an opportunity for you guys to be making money. So like, let's give you guys a chance to make money, like as collegiate athletes. So naturally, it makes sense that it's like, well, we should like be protected. Like we should have, our rights like actually enforced, and the only way to do that is to like get together and make sure that happens. So I'm so stoked to see this fucking shit. But all 15 members of the Dartmouth's men's basketball team signed a petition in September asking to join the local 560 of the Service Employees International Union, which already represents some other employees, at the Ivy League school in Hanover, New Hampshire. Unionizing would allow the players to negotiate not only over salary, but working conditions, including practice hours and travel. It's not just about the money. It is about well fucking being, y'all. Like, it's so important. Like, it's so important that I stress this shit. Why I geek out about unions. It's so fucking cool to me that, like, literally people who are just working and they just, like, hop up off the line and say, wait a second. We matter. We are important to this whole fucking thing. And I kind of feel like we're not being treated like that. And that is so key. It's so important to be able to say you're right or you're wrong and discuss that as a group and like make action about that. You know what I mean? And even in this level, like I feel like there's a mysticism at play here, because there's people who go, well, like you're ruining what it is to be a student. Like, this is about coming and learning and academia, blah 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 blah. But like, let's be real. Just open your fucking eyes and stop pretending like you don't live in a capitalist world, like a capitalist fucking society. It is in everything you breathe, down to the goddamn microplastics, my boy. Like, what do you mean? Just be serious for a second. Like, yes, these people deserve to make money. I don't care that they're in college or whatever. Like, that shouldn't make a goddamn difference whether or not they're pro or amateur or whatever. Like, it's pro enough. Like, come on, you're watching it on TV. Like, just be for real. Just be for real. That's all I ask. So, I'm in riff mode here. I really don't want to get into the details, but I'm just stoked to see it. I love to see this shit. I think one thing I do have to add, I think there is a chance for the school, Dartmouth, to appeal. So if they do, like, I know they've done that in the past, as said in the article or whatever, but like I said, I love covering a dub. I love covering a union dub. You know what I mean? Last year we were talking about the cars. Now we're back on the fucking students. So like I said, let's fucking clap it up. Let's fucking go. We love to see it. But yeah, that's really all I have. I really yapped it up today, so I'm happy. I feel good. My cup is full. If you'd like to support the effort, though, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. You can become a newsie today. I shout you out at the top of the month. Plug a project if you'd like. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on the socials. And then also, I hope you're subscribed to the YouTube. Every new subscriber really helps, really does a lot. Trying to get to that monetization level, if you will. I feel like all of it helps the algorithm. So like, liking the episode helps. Leaving a cool comment helps. Sharing helps. All that good shit. I mean, but really you just tuning in, letting me worm my way into your ear holes like I'm some anamorph yerk. And if you know what that is, fucking hell yeah. But I'm in there and you can't do anything about it. Now I'm going to tell you what to do like I'm Ratatouille. That's what I want. That's really what being a podcaster is all about. So, thank you for giving me that. I appreciate it so much. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.